I was sitting here and I'm listening to one of my favorite Bible teachers, the late Les Feldick. I'm listening to a few of his sermons like I usually do here on the 4th of July. And I'm a type of person when I'm sitting back on my mind is racing. It's racing. I'm thinking. Most of the things I'm thinking about is uplifting, but sometimes bad things and negative things come to my mind. It's just how we work humanly. But I'm sitting up here thinking. Now I want two things I want to talk about. I looked at an article on YouTube, and it was this young man on there, and he was, I guess, repeating or mimicking or quoting what he heard someone else said about how the phones are making people lazy today. The cell phones, are making people lazy today. And he said, I guess, I don't remember word for word verbatim what he said, but I'm just going to just throw out, just kind of base it on what he was trying to let us understand or trying to tell us that he got a little bit upset, because he looked at us here because he goes to more old schoolers or whatever. I'm just gonna put it in my term. Old schoolers judging the young, talking about blah blah blah, have phones and this and how it used to be back in the old day. It was something to the extent that he was talking about. Then he thought about it. He thought about it. He said, wait a minute. Most of what did he say? He said, and I already knew this. I talked about this quite a few times, how our brain has been numbed with technology or something like that, or just somebody else's perspective on things. But let me just put it this way. What he was saying and he was talking about is so profound, is so true. What he was saying is, if somebody came to him and asked him what was his friend's numbers, what was his brother's numbers. He didn't say this, but I'm just using this as an example. Who is so-and-so's number? What is my mom's number? What is whatever? He said, I wouldn't even know it. I will have to look in my phone. And he said, the only number, check this out, the only number he remember by heart is his own number. And then the bell came on. Wow, that old man was true. See, his point was, and this is a point that I make as well. We had to memorize things back in the day, even from the 1900s, 30s, and all that 40s when phones started coming up and whatever like that, or until, just say for me, from the 70s on up. I'm going to speak for myself. We had to memorize phone numbers. Our brains was exercised. We had to memorize phone numbers, not only phone numbers, we had to memorize names, we had to memorize directions. Our brain was more active. It was very active. Our cognitive comprehension was much better then because we exercised our brain. This is what I'm saying. We exercised our brain. And when he said that, I was thinking about that the other day, and I was talking to one of my coworkers about the same thing, about the brain fog of today. There's a lot of reasons why we get so much brain fog. Even young people get brain fog. It's amazing, man. And it has to do a lot of the technology and radiation and all that other stuff that we consume the majority of our day in. Even if it's just a computer or a laptop. We consume, the phone dominates the majority of people's lives around the world. Not only in America, but around the world. Unless you exercise your mind, we're losing a lot of our memory. And that's scary. I know I do. The brain fog, I don't get as much brain fog now since I eat better. And I do exercise my mind now with different things on apps. It's so much out there to exercise your mind, to keep your mind busy, and that's very important. But you think about what that young man said, and what I always often said, and you probably have been saying this too. We are more dumber for the late baby boomers, when I was born in '64, speaking of my group of people, we are more dumber or lazier than we was back then. That's just a fact. And I kind of think about all the people I grew up with, and in school, and friendships around the neighborhoods and different things like that. And I don't know what they're doing now. How many of us suffers from brain fog, or how many people even in my group is suffering from some type of early stage of dementia? Think about that. Because we don't exercise our brain. We don't, our mind. The brain is just a shell. We don't exercise our mind, and then that affects the shell of the brain. You understand what I'm saying? So what that young man was saying, what that old man was saying, the bell came on, and he said back then in the day, now this guy was saying that he was probably 20 years or so younger than me. I'm just assuming. I'm 60 years old. So I know when we had to memorize people's numbers, the Generation Z and a lot of the last generations have no idea about that, because they grew up in a technology age. Well, the computers, laptops, and cell phones and stuff like that. So this is something unheard of with them. Even though they got a lot of stuff to help you memorize, but helping you memorize today will not bring about what the memory you lost from the past of that memorization. That can never be built back. But you can move on and develop it for what's going on now. But some things you just lost, you can't get it back. You think you can remember? I don't care if the greatest person with a memory cannot remember everything they've done in their life since they've been born. Nobody can do that. Only God does that. My point is, we don't even do a pinch of memorizing everything that we done and walked and talked or said. You have a lot of good people out there with good memories and everything, but nobody has it down pack of remembering everything they have done, especially in the past. Because the destruction of our brain and our memory. You could say what is blamed. It's blamed on many things. Food has a lot to do with it. Yes, food and radiation through the phones and computers and stuff like that. It has a lot to do with our psyche and our memory, no doubt about that. Which one more than the other one, I don't know. I would say probably food, but that's just my guess. I'm just throwing a guess out there. But my point is how much memory we have lost. And the brain fog. You hear so many people, what did I do? What I was finna do this? What I was finna do that? What I was finna do? On myself too. What about this? I forgot what I was doing. Sitting up here holding the phone. I'm finna dial a number, and I forgot what I picked up the phone and what I was finna do. That's scary, man. We can laugh at it, but that's scary. And it might have to do with even the phone that I'm looking at too much because of the radiation and whatever was coming off the phone. I forgot what they called it. But my point is that is so true. And I already knew that. We are more dumber, and I don't mean it as a put down, than we was from the baby booming stage, late baby booming stage for me. We are more dumber today than we was back in the 70s. Even with check this out, even with more technology today, we are still more lazier and not as smart. We know a lot of things, but our memory is bad. That's different. You can know a lot of things and be intelligent about a lot of things. Don't mean you have a good memory. See, we can memorize a lot of words and big words and fancy talking and stuff like that. But we ask somebody, what's my phone number? They don't know. They have to look in their phone. That's if, check this out, that's if you're not really working on your memory. I'm talking about the average person now. Intelligent person, the engineer, the rocket scientist, the people like that keeps all the numbers mostly in their phone because it's so easy and it's so convenient. We don't have to exercise our mind and with memory. And I'm going to say this. And I'm learning this more and more at my age. At my age, it's more important than ever to exercise our mind and work with memory programs. Because what's in the food, what's in the 5Gs out there, we're looking at these phones, we're not going to get away from it. These phones got to like hypnotize you. I do this and you do. You pick up the phone, just going through it, and just looking like something's going to change. Nothing's going to change. That means you somewhat almost obsessed with your phone. You just pick it up and look at it just for nothing. You could just leave somebody in a conversation and wind up dialing them and talking on the phone. You spend hours with each other, 2 hours at a time, and ain't said nothing. But the minute you leave each other, you talk on the phone or you video chat. You see what's going on. Things that's meant for good also is meant for evil. It's like a mind control. If all internet broke down, people will lose your mind. Some, no, most definitely will commit suicide because that's all they got to go on. That's all they have to go on. So one key for me, and I hope you listeners to do this, we need to learn how to read books more. We need to learn how to try to exercise our mind and get in some type of focus groups and memorize. Because it's dementia and Alzheimer's is on the rise. And a lot of it has to do with diet, what we eat. A lot of, I'm not saying this is the only thing, but a lot of it has to do with diet. It's been proven now. It has to do with diets and what we eat, the bad foods, the junk foods. Yeah, there's a lot of other reasons why, no doubt. But one of the big corporate enemies to a lot of people with Alzheimer's, and which they call type 3 diabetes now, not type 2, but type 3 diabetes now, is our diet. That's why you have certain things like MCI, which is also in coconut, that has reversed a lot of people's dementia in an early stage, not the late stage, in an early stage. Or it strengthened others in late stage to help them memorize a little bit of focus. So you have foods can make your memory better, and you have bad ultra-processed food and sugar that can kill your cells and whatever that is in your brain, whatever they call it, I don't know. See? So food and diet is very important, what we eat, especially at an older age. You have so many young people with brain fog now. They're into computers, they're into all kind of games, they're into social media. So Satan uses all kind of tactics that we think is all good for bad. See, we're in a battle now. It's scary to think of putting your phone down for a whole day and only answering when you have to make a phone call or someone is calling you. Putting the phone down without looking at nothing on the phone or watching nothing on your computer or a tablet, whatever, for a day or two. Just thinking about that, even for myself, is a challenge. That's scary. And back then, that's all we done. We didn't have no cell phones. We had the regular phone, dial tone. Not dial tone, rotary phones. So we had to memorize things. We couldn't take a home line phone with us all around. We didn't have the pictures and visuals and stuff back then. So we had to memorize things. We had to live without it. And we done very well. Think about that, folks. Real talk for the day. Body of Christ Real Talk. Joseph Brownlee. Bye-bye. Peace out. Love you.